Welcome to the show. Welcome to Cats versus Cards, and I am your host, Mr. William Washington. Some people call me Willie Dubs. All right. So this week, you see the name right there on the screen. This week we're going to go over that embarrassing loss by Kentucky. Hey, I'm a Kentucky fan. We have to face the embarrassment. I just know nothing around that. No way around that. Face the embarrassment, and then our beloved rival, Louisville. This just makes me puke because you guys actually beat Notre Dame. I was hoping that you guys would lose that game. So we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about what's next for both of these teams, get everybody's take, and let's invite everybody in. Give me 1 second. Got a little bit different cast today. At the very top, we have Richard, this Louisville fan. You see him with that Louisville, Louisville Cup? Say what's up, Richard.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Cardinal Kool-Aid today.
And y'all, look at his background, guys. Look at his background. Just get out of here. Just get out of here.
Refreshing. I told y'all last week that if U of L won, I would be ornery today. So I'm gonna be ornery.
Next up, PJ. What's going on, P?
What's good, guys? Cats by 90. Even though
Cats by 90.
You been beat by now.
Last but not least, on today, Mr. Henderson, all the way from Arizona. What's going on, Perry?
Cards all day, every day.
Cards all day, every day. All right. Guys, if I haven't told you once, I told you 1,000 times, like, share, and subscribe, guys. And remember, you can be a part of the discussion, all right? If you're on YouTube, go ahead and get part of the chat. Go ahead and type in your questions, your comments. Facebook, I hope you guys are sharing this out. You can get it from my page. And soon, I'm telling you soon, when I say soon, I'm talking about next week. We're going to have a dedicated home for Cats versus Cards. That's to come, and stay tuned. Be a part of that group. We'll give you the link out pretty soon. But let's get into this. Guys, first things first. I hate to even have to bring this up. Kentucky Wildcats. We got dominated by Georgia, 51-13. I'm actually surprised that we're still in the top 25. PJ, I'm gonna start with you because last week we started with Louisville. Congratulations, Louisville. And you know what? I got to give you guys a hand clap on it. You guys deserve that. All right. So, but we're going to start with Kentucky right now. See, these Louisville fans, right? They're too happy. Especially that one at the top there. Y'all see the one at the top over here. He's just too happy. Put that cup down. But PJ,
The Cardinal Kool-Aid.
PJ, tell us what did you see here in this game? What happened?
Man.
Wait a minute.
Wildcats,
This should
man.
be short, right? If this is highlights, this should be short, right?
Unfortunately, we got to live
Like
through
30
it.
seconds, right?
It's like 10 minutes long. We got to live through it.
Hold on, wait, y'all got to yield. We got the mic. We talking. So let the Kentucky fans, let us talk bad about ourselves first before y'all hop on. All right. So for me, what I seen was a team who had in that first, it's really that first quarter, who had, it's like they had the heart taken out of them.
Yeah.
I think the first drive, and we talked about it before the show, which is a really good point. To me, the first drive, like for me personally, I was like, I know Georgia gonna come out, they'll get 3 or 7. I felt like that. They'll get 3 or 7s at home. They just as hyped about the game too. Like they know this is a big game, right? Like, because here comes another ranked team here. They almost lost last week against Auburn. It's a chance for them to prove themselves, show themselves, right? Prove themselves to be number one. To me, that first drive was like, I didn't like that. I don't like how they went downfield to score.
Yeah.
As you can see, my boy Maxwell Harrison playing with the club on his hand. That's kind of affected some things. I don't like that for him. But overall, it's really the offense that gave me the heebie-jeebies, because I felt like when we got on the field, and we were moving the ball a couple plays, right? Like I felt like, oh, we're here. Like Ray's ready. Ray Davis is good, as we all know. Everybody knows he's good. Georgia knows he's good too. But the penalties, right? You had the penalty come in, and then you had that third down that Liam Cohen called a great call. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Call couldn't have been even better. It couldn't have been any better. Great call, and the quarterback completely misses.
I'm gonna tell you.
Wide open play, bro.
I'm gonna tell you. I forgot who the announcer is for this game, but he said the perfect thing, and it's so weird because if you look at the score, you say 51-13, and you're thinking offense is horrible. You know, the OC probably needs to be fired or whatnot. Of course, we're not saying that about Liam Cohen, but instead he goes, "Yeah, they got dominated." But Liam Cohen called a masterful game. And it's like, what?
Yeah. No, for real. What I was saying about, even, okay, you see this play with he got the club, right? He's not even really going like he wants to go for it. I hate that for him, because Maxwell's a good player. But what I mean by they gave me the heebie-jeebies because of that. He called a great game, bro.
Yeah.
But because of we couldn't capitalize, missed passes, penalties. To me, it affected the defense because the defense needed help.
Yeah.
The defense needed a sign of life. They needed a sign of life, and they didn't help each other. And I felt like the two was like a train that was like on a crash collision, like boom. Like it was horrible, and they never bounced back. They never recovered. The momentum was there. The hype was there. Georgia was they was hyped. They know that this was a game to prove that we're still Georgia and y'all still Kentucky in their eyes, right? Like that's what they was trying to prove. And
they proved it. I mean, they proved it. You can't take anything away from them. I think for myself, when I watch this game, I see a team that everything's just snowballed on them, you know. And I was mad at Jagger Burton in the beginning because the whole game, like we go down 21-0, and I'm looking at Jagger Burton like, you are single-handedly killing our team, you know. Him and then Deion Walker, he had a horrible. He did it. The flag should have been thrown, but I'm just saying it was just a horrible decision on his part. You know, in those things, you get down 21-0 to the number one team in the nation, and you're at their home. It's kind of like it's over. And I really felt like that's the attitude that the team took. You know, it was over. I think that a couple of things that happened. Number one, the offense, like you said, PJ, came out. they were actually moving the ball. Those first 3 drives. I don't think they was going to have any problems with Georgia's defense at all, really. But when you have those penalties, that messes you up. And I think that combined with that first pass that Carson Beck threw for that touchdown, that was a great pass. It looks like it's wide open, and I wish I could rewind it back, but it looks like that it was wide open and that it was so easy. But if you look at the difficulty of the throw, it's like he had to throw it over some defenders, and he had another safety that was coming over top. But it was like perfect placement, and then he just outran everybody. That was kind of demoralizing, because after that, if you look at some of the end zone shots, you can see our corners there opening up their gate really fast. Like when they're backpedaling, they're covering the receivers, and then they open up their gate. When you open up that gate really fast, that tells you one thing: I'm not too sure about if I can do this, my technique against this player. And to me, that it's like, all right, he got that one great one. This is going to be one for the books, and we got to be ready. They weren't ready.
I think my bad. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, because I was just saying they weren't ready, because after you get down and then that happens, just like, yeah, they really are the number 1 team. Let me just go ahead and get ready for the next game. Because there was no fight after that. Deion Walker himself, he's an All-American candidate. And then I just watched him in the second half. I'm like, dude, you so easy to be blocked right now. But it's because he wasn't trying. It's because he wasn't trying.
His 9, it was gone from there. Yeah. They was already back in Lexington at that point.
Exactly. Yep.
Unfortunately. And my thing is, like, even like you watch some of these passes, right? Like, I think one thing that I give credit to Georgia, and this is going to always be to me, it's always been our problem, even when we play against Ole Miss, right? I feel like Ole Miss has one of the most gimmicky offenses. Mm-hmm. But when you play zones and you don't get the pressure that is needed by that front,
yeah,
bro,
it's over, man. The holes.
It's just there, and that's where, to me, philosophy. I love, and I said it again with Richard earlier. We was talking about it. I can never discount. No one can discount what Stoops has done as far as from year 1 to now. But the one thing that I've always, and it goes with House too, is certain philosophy is that the type of players that playing in this type of league where you play against a Georgia, or even it's not just, I don't want to make it seem like it's just SEC, because it's every league has those teams that just, they have those athletes. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to need guys, you're going to have to be able to play man sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, to me, I feel like Maxwell could play man, especially if he's not hurt. I feel like Maxwell could play man, but I feel like I'm not as confident with everybody else. Now, we move fast. Our linebackers move fast. But to me, like, even with like Wallace, he does, but I can't trust Derek King to do man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, that's why I feel like we do a lot more zone blitzes than we do even man blitzes, right? And so, I think it's showcased we play against teams like Georgia, especially in this game. But again, to me, it's a more of a mentality thing. Like, the mental, they beat us mentally too. Once we was undisciplined, I feel like after that, it was more like imposing their will. Yeah. We already moved on. They're still making a point. And, like, look at my guys, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's horrible.
They at this point they were already done. They were already done. So, I mean, it was just bad. It's just bad all the way around. I'll say this. Because you talked about the zone blitzes and everything, and I told you, Perry, one of the previous games, I was like, he left their corners on the island for almost the whole game. We almost never do that. We do a lot of zone. We do a lot of mixing up. We might roll coverage to the right or left and play man on one side and zone on the other side, but we never leave our corners on the island like that. So he prepared for it. I don't know if it's of course they have it in their bag of tricks, but I don't know if it's that we're just not that confident in our corners, even though we've had some corners that's playing in an NFL. But it's just weird to me that they would do that. But hats off to the Georgia though. I mean, they deserved it. They kicked our tail. It was horrible. Go ahead, Richard. I know you're chomping at the bit to say something bad about Kentucky.
I mean, what can I say that hasn't already been said? But where you think the most of the blame goes on the offense, I put most of the blame on the defense because they're the ones that took y'all out the game up front, and then your offense was playing catch up. I don't think y'all gave us as enough as he needed to be ran because you all were so far behind and had to play catch up in the passing game. But the defense took y'all out of the game. It wasn't the offense. Yeah, Larry missed that wide open receiver down the field that probably could have brought y'all close and kept y'all in the game for a little bit. But the defense, the way they marched down on the field on your defense in that first series was just like, if y'all was back playing Vanderbilt and y'all was Vanderbilt. See what I'm saying? Yeah. And that took y'all straight out the game. The defense did that. The offense
it
just,
easy,
hey, man. Yeah, it just too easy. I couldn't believe how quickly they went downfield. Y'all had no pressure on the man whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And like you said, when you're playing zone and you can't get pressure on the front, he was just dialing and carving y'all up. That tight end Bowers, y'all made that man look like give me an NFL tight end.
Wait a minute.
It made him look like
tight end in the country.
But wait a minute. Wait a minute. While you say that though, you got to understand Bowers is actually considered one of the best tight ends in college football history already, and he's not even gotten through his junior year. So
that very well be, and y'all definitely made a case for it today. I just, like I said, for all of I know you all say the blue wall isn't here, but you all have been touting how good your defense has been. And to me, that was your biggest letdown, not the offense, because you've always known there were problems with the offense. You always knew what kind of quarterback you had in Leary. What let you guys down and what was the biggest disappointment was your defense or the lack thereof, and how easy they were taken out of this game, whether it was self-inflicted penalties or the fact that they just got popped in the mouth. And like Tyson said, you say all a bunch of trash, but once you get hit in the mouth and that mouth guard comes out, what you going to do at that point? And that's what happened. So I really ain't got much more to say to that other than the fact that the defense was what let you down in that game.
Can I real quick before Perry goes? I wasn't necessarily saying that it was on the offense. What I was saying was that that's where it started, as far as being undisciplined, the holding calls, all those things. It started, and what it does, the thing about football is, if you leave your defense out on the field too long, bro, there's nothing else you can really do. They're out there starving. And to me, what I was saying, and I agree with you, the defense definitely let us down. What I was saying was that with momentum, right? You're on the road, right? With momentum, some type of life. They needed a lifeline. That's what I'm saying. They need a lifeline. Our defense has definitely been better than our offense, right? Our defense has been better than our offense this season. And I'm saying that they had needed the one time they needed to be saved, like there was holding calls, there were overthrown passes, there were things that were happening that to me, it put a crash course, is what it is. That's what I was saying. I wasn't putting it all saying like, oh, the defense don't have no blame. I wasn't saying that at all. I was just saying that the offense does have a role in it too, as far as how momentum was going too.
Okay. I once again, let me also clarify. I didn't say your offense was blameless. No. Okay. Your offense. If I had to break this pie up, I'd give 60% of the problem of the game to the defense. You talk about holding calls, but that will happen in a big game. You're playing in the hedges. You got 100,000 people, 90-some thousand people in them stands, yelling and screaming and hollering. A holding call, yes, it killed a drive. But that didn't really. It killed maybe one drive in the beginning, and then Larry missing that wide open receiver, could have made up for that. But what really hurt y'all was the unnecessary roughness, the tossing the dude down, the defense falling apart, the offsides, just the craziness on the defense, and the fact that like you said, you had this, what's his name, Deion Walker.
Mm-hmm. Deion, yeah.
Okay, this is your star man on the defense there. I think defense takes 60% of the blame of y'all's game, and even with all the failures of the offense, the defense was the one getting scored on. See what I'm saying? They were letting Georgia march up and down the field, big wide open holes,
Hold on.
secondary for Bowers to make those big plays and stuff like that. Yeah, best tight end at all, but still, it was your defense that gave up most of that.
So let's
let
Perry get in here on this.
So real quick, I agree. And to me, a lot of the first possession of the game was Georgia's possession, and they drove right down the field on you guys. Mm-hmm. I watched the entire first half. The thing that stood out to me was, especially with your corners, their reaction time was really slow. Like, they weren't expecting Georgia to be this fast. And then I saw people trying to do arm tackles. I saw guys trying to fly to the ball, but it's like they were almost like a step 2 seconds slow. You know, it's like they were reacting. The ball would come out, and instead of making a play on the ball, they were literally making plays on the wide receivers. And I kept thinking to myself, well, this is not normal Georgia wide receivers. Them guys are all gone to the pros, or those half of them transferred off the team. Some of the starters are gone, the other squads and this and that. I don't understand, you know, and I think maybe the psychology of it, maybe the psyche of the UK players going in this was not, you know, we're going to get the number one team, but these guys have barely got by everybody on their schedule. And everybody forgot that as much hype that was given to UK, Georgia was hearing that too. And so they were determined to make an example out of UK. That's what I saw. And just watching the reactions of the UK defense in that first drive down the field, y'all's Holy Ghost was took right then and there. You know, 40-yard touchdown, you know, 8-yard play here, 7-yard play there, 1 tackle for a loss that got people a little bit hyped. But everything else was like downfield, choop, 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 choop. At that point, UK needed to get the momentum back, and your offense didn't do that. So that's why and to me, what you guys are not talking about is the concern that you should have with your quarterback not being able to connect with his wide receivers. And the drop balls, you absolutely need a catch, and the guys are dropping balls when they absolutely need it. I would be like, this is the game that they're supposed to step up. This was the game that they were supposed to literally make a name for themselves, and they didn't. They did not shine. Now, I know at the end of the year, these dudes are going to all turn into John Elway and Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Tyrell Owens against the University of Louisville. But, you know, y'all shouldn't be waiting to do that to us. Y'all shouldn't be making us your Super Bowl. This was your chance, and y'all sort of blew it big time.
Well, I think if you
tell it was no sort of. We blew it. Go ahead, PJ.
51 points is inexcusable by your defense. No, I know your offense had issues. Your offense moved the ball, and they did some things. They had a lot of mistakes. But your defense, they didn't make no mistakes. I didn't see, you know, guys overrunning plays. I didn't see guys, you know, I saw the stuff that Walker did, but that wasn't constant. You know, that wasn't constant. That was like here and there. Your defense didn't come to play.
Yeah. Y'all didn't get a single sack in that game. And according to the stats here, you only had 5 tackles for loss. Mm-hmm. And probably a lot of that in the second, and, you know, when they put their reserve and their bench in that last part of the game. So, like I said, y'all had no pressure on Beckett at all throughout that whole game. And like you said, PJ, you playing zone and you ain't getting no pressure with that front. He was carving y'all up. So.
And I do want to say this. I'll make it. Can I tell you, when you say, like, they become John Elway, I want to let you know this is football. That's what if you work with players, since the spring, right? Since the spring, summer, fall, the hope is eventually they get better. When we play y'all at the end of the year, my hope is that if you was dropping passes in week 3 and week 4, you're catching them now, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm throwing tennis balls to my receivers right now, I'm not expecting that they're gonna go out this Saturday. No, I'm not talking about college, right? This is a totally different level. I'm not expecting they're gonna go out Saturday the next game and just be catching all kind of one-hand catches, Randy Moss, and like that. But you're trying to build on, you know. So that's what you're seeing. It's by the end of the season. That's why, to me, I feel like you see guys playing better is because it's the end of the year. You know, I ain't gonna lie. Again, y'all are back on the road, but y'all had went down a little bit, right, with Satterfield. Y'all pretty much have became Appalachian State, and so we had seen worse than App State. We had seen better teams. So then when we come into that game, it's like we're playing a team they're not even good, better than half the teams we just played. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to change as we mentioned before.
One more thing to say.
But
One
also,
more
let me
thing.
say this real
Wait.
quick, Perry. I think you did see that correctly about our corners and everything. They're playing the receivers; they're not playing the ball. Because remember what I said after they scored that first touchdown, when they started showing your end zone shots. No, well, you can see the corners. They were, like I said, they were opening that gate much sooner than they should, which means they're not confident in themselves. They're not confident in their technique. They're not confident in what's going on. So, yeah, they were second guessing themselves. I think you were spot on with that. They were second guessing themselves. There's no doubt about it. You can see it in their body language too.
I want to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
And I told you about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You might not agree with me, but your schedule was not. This is the part where your schedule. Y'all needed to play Georgia maybe two games down the road. Y'all needed to play somebody like South Carolina, maybe Tennessee in this spot because your schedule allowed you to not come face to face with reality. You know, most of your games were at home. Like all of them were at home. This was like your first. This was your first true road game? True.
No, Vandy, but yeah,
Vandy don't count, man. They filled that stadium up halfway with UK fans. You know, that's Florida for UK fans. Nashville is like Florida, but they go there. But to me, that was a big deal too. To me, to go into a stadium with 96,000. And UK had a side. You can hear the UK fans. There's about 5,000 of y'all in the stadium, you know, in that little corner. But to go into the stadium, you know, bright during the day, 96,000 fans there. That's a big deal as well. I mean, you really have to have been there to literally get up, stay up for that game throughout the game from the get-go. It's not easy to do, you know. So I don't think your schedule did you any favors.
Yeah, you could be right about that.
I don't think do we set up our conference schedules though? I feel like they formulate. Right?
Yeah, we don't. We don't set up our conference.
We're talking about your outer conference also. That would have given you, if you put a little bit more meat on the bone, you might. At least go to these other teams' stadiums and play.
What true?
You know, if you play the Cupcakes, play them on the road. Give you an idea of playing in an adverse environment. I don't know. Maybe, you know.
Indiana was packed out. That Indianapolis was packed out.
It was still Indianapolis, but Georgia, but Atlanta was packed out, and it wasn't a road, and it was a road game.
That's a conference game. Those are conference games. You're not.
Indiana is not a conference game. Indiana wasn't a conference game.
No, I'm talking. You said Atlanta. Atlanta.
We went to North Carolina State.
And we went to North Carolina State.
They had a blackout.
Conference game. That's not a non-conference game. That's a conference game.
We still had three games out of 5 away from home. Okay, in front of adverse environment, which made us play, and especially that first game. Yeah, and especially that first game gave us a little bit of, hey, we're in the trenches. I'm knowing what my guy next to me. He got my back, I got his, and we are down here struggling in the trenches, understanding the veracity of this competition instead of playing in the the confines of Cardinal Stadium. If we had played every game, it doesn't matter if it's a conference game or not. It was an adverse opponent.
The way you're setting it up, they set their schedule up for you, not y'all set that up like that. Y'all didn't say, hey, we're going to play Georgia Tech, then play Murray State like that itself. The conference comes up with your schedule. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But every year, Louisville either plays in a season kickoff bowl or a big game to start the season, just something against a powerful opponent, to get started. So, I mean, once again, we're talking about the schedule stuff again, and y'all seem to say that it doesn't matter, but this could play in the factor into that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm just saying
we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones talking about y'all schedule. Louisville fans.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that you can't. We don't set up conference schedule. Y'all bringing up games like North Carolina State,
Georgia Tech. That it's got to be a conference schedule.
Games. They're scheduled.
Hold on, guys.
You bringing in Dietrich?
No. I was just saying because you guys are talking over each other. But I think PJ's point here is that you played Georgia Tech to start this season off. It was your big game, but it was scheduled by your conference. That's it. Mm-hmm. It was scheduled by – it wasn't that Louisville did it on its own. Now, on this year's, because you getting ready to say something, On the years that they don't, maybe you guys do it on your own. But this season, it was done by the ACC. All right?
You're right, but last year Syracuse was our first game of the season up in the Carrier Dome, and they beat our tails.
Yes, they did. I remember that. But again,
31-7.
Again, that is set.
You are right. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
The conference did schedule it. But it was not, our first game was not against a mid-major opponent. And then our second game wasn't against a mid-major opponent.
Or our third game.
Our third game was finally against EKU. And then we had two more. Well, Indiana wasn't a conference game.
I mean, but
the year before last year, our first game of the season was against Ole Miss. I mean, 3 years
I
ago,
think if I may say this, I think it doesn't matter if it's a conference game because you all would have been better off if y'all had played Vandy your first game. You've been better off if you played Vandy your first game, and you probably sprinkled in maybe South Carolina or Missouri before you went down to Georgia. Since I'm on the road, play a road game or two. You all played pretty much all at home, all easy games. Your toughest opponent, you played them at home, and we found out Florida really wasn't Florida. So it pretty much gave you all that false sense of security that, hey, we on the same level. We have an opportunity to win here. When you got down there and got smacked in your mouth, you found out differently. And what we're saying is it doesn't matter if it's a conference opponent or out of conference. I think what we're trying to say is had you had a tougher schedule, whether it's on the road or whether it's a conference opponent earlier in your 4-game, 5-game stretch of cupcakes, you might have fared better. You might have gotten off to a better start with Georgia. Not to say that you're still going to win, but that's what Perry and I are saying.
Well, I'm just going to say this. For years, we started the season with the mid-major opponent, and y'all didn't say nothing. That mid-major opponent was Louisville.
There you go.
But wait, we didn't say nothing because we was whooping y'all. That's the problem. We didn't say nothing because we was beating y'all. Y'all got so scared of us.
You failed.
Y'all got so scared of us that y'all had to move the game. Y'all kept moving that goalpost. Remember that? We're going to move it from the first to the third to the last.
Next person. Go ahead, PJ.
I don't need to move on, but this is what I'm saying. Here's the thing, though. This is what I want y'all to understand. We have never disagreed with y'all about the schedule. What we're saying is, and this is my
y'all
point,
don't
Peter.
care. Y'all like
no,
That's
it's not. Again, you got to let me talk because you're putting words in our mouth. This is what I'm saying. When you bring up saying we played Syracuse the first game, we played Georgia Tech the first game, what we're saying is that was scheduled for you, not by you, which means we can't. I would love to say, hey, our first game of the season is against Vandy, South Carolina, or Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Yeah, that'll be fun too. That'll be fun. Yeah, but that's not how the SEC does their scheduling.
That's not how that player. How come y'all couldn't go to act?
I want to say something today because I got.
Hold on, wait, because y'all. I think it's like y'all feel like it's going over our head, but I feel like it's going over y'all's head. You did not come up with the first game of the season. Your conference
that is the deciding factor. No,
I'm not saying this is the deciding factor.
Go ahead, Perry. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead.
Our conference did not schedule Alabama in the first game of the Chick-fil-A kickoff back in 2018.
We're talking about Syracuse, and we're talking about
no. We're talking about
Syracuse and Georgia Tech.
Did not schedule Ole Miss back in 2019, 2000. They didn't schedule Ole Miss. They didn't schedule Notre Dame back in 2018. Those are our first opponents of the season. Our conference didn't schedule that.
Perry. Okay, so
we scheduled those.
I think that PJ made his point that you guys are missing the point because you just missed the point again.
No, we're
Fact is, you guys were just talking about Syracuse and Georgia Tech. All we said was they scheduled it for you guys. That's all we said. Now all of a sudden, after we respond to that and say that simple thing, now we getting ready. What did you just do, Richard? What did you just do? Yes, you did, because that's not what you was talking about at first. You was not talking about them at first. You did not say them at first. You not say them at first. You did not say them at first. After we killed that about your conference opponents, that's when you brought in Alabama and Ole Miss. Like I said, I understand y'all might have done that in the past.
Let me ask you this. Who's responsible for setting up the game with Akron? EKU.
Thank you, Sean.
Ball
Thank you,
State.
Sean.
Who did that? Who's
Y'all did that.
responsible for that? Was that your conference that did that?
And
Was
I
that
didn't
your
move the
conference that did that?
goalpost.
That was Miss
No,
Bernhardt.
Miss Bernhardt. Why come
Why
y'all couldn't have at least, you know what? If we're gonna play these cupcakes, let's go to Akron. Let's go to Ball State and play. See what I'm saying? If you want to play that, and then you talk about PJ, you putting words in my mouth. No, y'all said on this show 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago and said, you know what? Even if they do schedule cupcakes, I don't have a problem with it because it helps us build a program. That's what y'all said.
But the fan said, as a fan, we would love to play those games.
No, y'all sat there and said that. Really?
Did we not say that? Do we need a rewind feature on here to hear it from the previous shows?
We need to throw the red flag. Is that what you're talking about? Throw the red flag. Is that what it is? Like the commercial, throw the red flag.
Here's the thing, Richard. I think you're missing it though, bro. Is that we were talking about the concept of why they were doing what they were doing, not that we enjoyed it. We were saying that the concept of what they're doing while they're doing is because of this reason. Now, again, here goes. Which I said that you guys are missing is what I was saying was that yes, we are definitely responsible for scheduling our first game of the season. The way the ACC and the SEC set up their schedules, right, are different. You guys were bringing up playing your first game last year against Syracuse, right? This year against Georgia Tech. What I was saying was you did not set that up. Your conference decided.
That's true.
The first game of the season.
You are correct. I'm trying to tell you, PJ. We agree that the conference
the SEC does that too, right?
The conference takes care of the schedule.
Schedule like that, bro.
The conference set up our Georgia Tech. But you know what? They didn't set up our Indiana game, and we went there. See what I'm saying?
Indiana's a major team.
Is it what?
Indiana's a major what
major team?
Hey.
They needed a home cooking to be active.
Listen.
I don't care. We still went there.
Hey.
And you
all right. Hey guys. Let us switch gears. All right, because we are 37 minutes in and we're still talking about this. All right, so and you know what? For the second time, I'm gonna give some applause to Louisville for winning. All right, hats off to Louisville. All right, and guess what? Because somebody, a Louisville fan, could not get the highlights on here. I guess we're gonna have to go without the highlights for Louisville. Y'all won this game and can't get highlights.
I sent them to you. Why don't you? I sent them.
That's terrible. All right, let's check.
It would take too long, and you'd be cutting off the show because
Here we go.
Highlights.
All right. First,
go ahead, Perry. Give us a play-by-play.
He was really being successful in the passing game. We made a conscious effort. Our defensive staff made a conscious effort to stop the run. So you can see we bought 5-6 guys, and they kept talking about they should have kept going to the tight end. Now here's the major flaw for our guy here, Hartman. This dude's gonna have nightmares. This dude is gonna have nightmares for the rest of his life because we have literally broken him. We have literally broken him over the last 2 years. You put a little pressure on him, he gives out turnovers. He's the
Dak Prescott.
Exactly. On the college level. He did great against everybody else. He didn't have no interceptions the entire year against Ohio State. North Carolina State blitzed him to death. He didn't have no interceptions against them.
He didn't have one, but he doled out 3 of them. That's right. So.
Exactly. 3 of those and 5 sacks.
I mean, we had to do bleeding, literally and figuratively, physically bleeding.
Yeah, his ear was busted up. I'm like, hey, man, this dude is
he looked like he was in a fight.
This is one of the better plays that Plummer made on the night. He moved up into the pocket, threw it to the back of the end zone, created a little time and a little space. This was probably one of their longest runs of the night. And you wondered if they had kept trying to run the ball, if they could have probably broke something against us. But this is the second sack of the game. Just solid pressure, man. Our defense looked like it did against Wake Forest last year. Blindside blitzes. Players coming and going and then delaying. They confused him. This guy didn't know whether he was coming or going by the end of the game. I mean, touchdown pass he threw at the end of the game, he was literally falling, backpedaling, and probably second guessing himself.
You still there?
All right. Yeah, I'm here. I saw Mr. McLease's response. We'll see if we're a cupcake this year. Good touchdown pass. He dropped it in there.
It can't be a cupcake if it's ranked, right? So there you go. Anywho,
are y'all gonna stay ranked?
Hey,
no, anything could happen, man. We live in the reality.
I told you I was gonna be ornery. Because I'm drinking this Cardinal Kool-Aid here. Getting back to the game here. One of the things that I noticed about Notre Dame is they reading their boards, reading their posts and everything during the game, after the game. You know, they got that live chat feed on SB Nation like we do. 1 Foot Down is what theirs is called. Reading what they were saying, everything they were saying as though we should be able to walk on this field and run Louisville down. We have more 4- and 5-star players on our team. They were talking about how they had like 54 and 5-star players on their team, and they were deep, and we only had like 3, 4, and 5-star players. So it should be nothing but, it should be just easy as to walk in here and take this victory, even in their worst performance. That's the talk that they were given, and then that's the talk that they're talking now, how it's just so demoralizing and disgusting that they lost to us. And we are sitting here thinking, you know what? This is our 4th game playing Notre Dame. We have beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. So why are they so confident thinking that this is an easy, straight up a win without even thinking about it? And then here it is. We've played Hartman, like you said. Hartman, every time he comes in here, every time we play him, that dude gives us 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers guaranteed. This dude was running the whole game. He was running for his life to the point where dude was bleeding. I swear I couldn't believe that. He got hit so hard, he was bleeding. That's what you call one of them slobber knockers. That's what I'm talking about. But yet they were talking and still talking to this day how this is like, I can't believe this is the most disgusting, despicable loss we've ever had. And I'm sitting here, y'all lost to us before at Notre Dame. So why is it at Notre Dame? So why is that unthinkable that y'all could come in here and lose to us? Especially we're ranked now. And we have a coach who's played on the big stage against big-time opponents like Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, played in the Big Ten championship. So he's already knowing how to coach against big programs like Notre Dame. So why was this such an unfathomable loss? That's what I couldn't understand, listening to Notre Dame and watching Notre Dame. And they were coming out here playing like that guy that disgusting, especially on his face. That's just, okay, dude. You come out here to a hostile environment. Number one, it is our Super Bowl. We're going to put everything but the kitchen and the kitchen sink on you, so you better be prepared. And they wasn't. I couldn't believe we stopped their running back. He only got 20 yards. Can you believe that mess? And this is a guy who Notre Dame runs. That's what they run and run.
Yeah, I wanted to. The other thing about it is that I don't think they came prepared to play. In some aspects, they really thought they were just going to walk out on the field and beat us. But if you check the records, you would see that Jeff Brom, he's played Notre Dame twice at Purdue, and they didn't lose. They didn't lose by that much. They were close games. And so he knew coming in this was going to be a different environment for Notre Dame and that we had a good chance to win. They put together a very good game plan. We've been talking about Louisville putting together a solid game, an entire game. This was an entire game. And you saw where we need to have, long pass plays down the field. If you watch how our offense operates, we're a big play threat on the ground and through the air, but it's like we sting till finally, pow, we bust something through. And that's what Jeff sort of alluded to this when he was talking about how he was expecting they wanted to run Jordan more last week against North Carolina State. But North Carolina State had like 8, 9 guys in the box at times. And so they would keep running him anyway, hoping that he would bust one loose because he kept saying it was close. It was almost close. They almost expected him to just bust one through. And that's how our offensive works. I mean, you'll see us throw a pass down the field, once every 2 or 3 series, once every 2 or 3 series or once every 2 or 3 downs, you'll see a pass go down the field at the wide receivers 1-on-1, and we just keep stinging and stinging and stinging, and then pow, we stab, and it's just apparent even in this game. Defensively, we kept so much pressure on Hartman like all night long. Even the passes that he made, it was like it was
under duress trying to get him out.
Yes. Yeah, they were like, oh, he made he got it in. Oh, he should have went to the tight end. Should have kept going. The tight end wasn't open all night. Sometimes we played zone, sometimes we played man, sometimes we played a mixture of zone and man. Sometimes we dropped back into zone and then go man at the back end. Sometimes it was the other way around. It was very confusing, for him, especially when we would blitz. And we were blitzing, like, I would say at least once every set of downs, we would blitz once or twice. And then it got to the point where we were bringing 5 guys and we back off. And you see that pass that he threw there, that was on 4th down. I mean, it was very, I would have hated to have been in his shoes. We made him very, very uncomfortable. Unlike any other quarterback on our schedule, he was the guy that got the uncomfortableness. Everything else up until this point on defense, to me, has been vanilla until we played this guy here. So I don't know what we're going to bring for Leary at the end of the season. I don't know what we're going to bring for Miami's quarterback, because he looks like he gets pressured and just does some dumb stuff. I mean, 3 interceptions in the game, that's not what you want from your quarterback.
This is disgusting right here. I'll tell you what, your defense, it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me, but what surprised me was that you guys did it for the whole game, because I watched you guys against some other teams. I was like, okay, they can do this, but they can't do it for a whole game. Then y'all did it for a whole game. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, there's nothing that I can say. So
it could have been that, like you said, that developing those extra guys off the bench during the Boston College game, during the Murray State game. That could have been that, giving those guys those extra reps so that they can have the ability to come up and fill in for, give some of our starters some spells at sometimes the game. One of the things I noticed, like Jeff Brom, when he agreeing with you on the fact that he was talking about North Carolina State and how we couldn't get Jordan out there more runs because North Carolina State was stacking the box. Brom said that in the presser, that he said, yeah, and it was his responsibility to try to open up, get more spacing in those plays and those lanes so he can give Jordan a better opportunity, because that's what they were doing. They were just, nine guys in the box stopping the run. And he said that he kept doing it, he eventually would have broken through and got a big one. But for some reason, Notre Dame, which is puzzling to everybody here, is why come they were so ineffective against the run for us. Like I said, Jordan had 148 yards of rushing on a team that yeah.
Sean Gurton comes and says Louisville just straight out physical Notre Dame.
They did, and this is a Notre Dame team that had a bigger line than Louisville. That's the bizarre, puzzling part of it. But something else Brom did that tripped me out. Y'all saw those option plays that he put in there. That, like I said, he's got plays like your offensive coordinator,
Liam Cohen.
They got plays that they've been dialing up, working in practice, that they just holding out. I bet we got some set of plays.
Why he rolled out our 4th-string quarterback from last year. Why he rolled him out on 2 run plays. It's like he's trying to set something up either for later in the game or later in the season. Somebody's going to see that guy and be like, oh, they're just going to run him.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it could be for another game. Yeah, Andrew Merrill, he comes and says, I knew Brom would turn it around. Said that it didn't expect it to be this quick, but that's the game these days. Our quarterback is about as bad as y'all's. That's the only thing that worries me.
Yeah, that's it. We've just been lucky so far, but I got to give it to him. That's the weird thing about this, though, which makes me wonder what's going on with these 5- and 6-year senior quarterbacks. He's a 6-year guy. So is Leary, a 5- or 6-year guy. And I'm thinking to myself, had Jackson been with the program, been playing college football that long, boy, I'm telling you, he probably would have been back-to-back Heisman winner at some point. He'd probably been the latest 2-time Heisman winner had he been in college that long. And to think that he, even in the 3 years that he played, he was a heck of a better quarterback than what we got now. I'm going to say that now. Now, Plummer is serviceable, but I'll say it again. We'll live and die by the Plummer. I'm just don't know what game it's going to be. Hopefully ain't the UK game, but I'm just waiting for that mistake to happen that's going to cost us the game. But so far, I think he kept his mistakes to a minimum.
He did say
Sean
that.
says
Just
Brahms
roll
also,
the ball away.
yeah.
Yeah, he had to work on it. How are you going to work with a 5-year quarterback, a 5-6-year senior quarterback? You got to work on throwing the ball away.
I'm gonna borrow a phrase that Lathan used last against Vanderbilt. This game really should have been like 48-13. Brown really tailed down the offense after we got all of those stops. I mean, you sit here in the red zone. You're in the red zone 3 possessions in the fourth quarter. He literally played for a field goal. Yeah, he didn't want to do anything. He played it safe. I said it during the game. I was like, man, the Notre Dame quarterback, coach, he just staked his whole career on that 4th and 8 inside the
4th and 11.
With 9 minutes left to go, 9 minutes and 42 seconds left to go. He had plenty of time to get us. I was just like, what is he?
Did you see his excuse? Did you see his reasoning? If you watch the post game report, his reasoning was this. He said, okay, we are already, this is 4th and we need to get a spark. If we roll the dice and punt it, we're still down we're still down a score and a half. Even if Louisville goes down here and scores, because I think they was only down
11. It was 24-13 at that point.
They were still down. He said we're still down 2 scores. We still need 2 scores if they come down here and score a field goal, or we keep them to a field goal. So we need a spark, he said. So we rolled the dice. It was a 50-50 chance either way. We still been in the same position. Because if we gone down here and got a score, we still need another score to come back and another score to take the lead. That's his reasoning in it. And I began to see that, okay, well, it's a possibility, but I still wouldn't have done it. I still would have just played the numbers game, been like everybody else. I wouldn't have done the Miami take the risk. Hey, we're going to run the ball. We just have to take a knee.
Man, Miami, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that they lost a game like that. Sorry to get off.
Georgia Tech. All of a sudden.
Hey, that's one of Louisville's victories. So hey, we get to put that in the check box.
look. Now Richard said, "Yeah, see that Georgia Tech game is better."
Let Mandy beat Florida. Who does Mandy play next week? South Carolina, Florida.
Florida.
Go ahead, PJ.
Go ahead, PJ. I'm sorry.
Florida already beat them. So my thing is, I think people don't realize this about me because we live in the state of Kentucky. You come in contact with more Louisville, Kentucky fans. Period. You're going to talk trash. That's part of the. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, true.
That's what makes it fun. Me personally, the teams I hate the most: Tennessee, Indiana, Notre Dame. I don't know what it's in Indiana or in Tennessee, but there's something that I can't stand. Florida too's on there too. Mm-hmm. I don't like Louisville, right? But it's more fun to me because it's the rivalry. That's what gives it. But me personally, I don't hate Louisville. I dislike them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And this makes it fun. I hate Tennessee. I hate Indiana. I hate Notre Dame. Notre Dame, the hatred comes from me being a football fan. And when I was growing up, I grew up in the 90s. So when I was a football fan, I liked UK, but of course we was only winning 2 games a season. So who else did I watch? I watched who everybody else was watching. Miami. And
I watched Notre Dame.
The way the perceptions were, I was like, I hate this school. And then Indiana, the state of Indiana has some of the worst fans, period, in life. Like anything. So, I actually didn't mind. Of course, for the rivalry and the sake of this, I wanted, okay, yeah, we lost. I want Louisville to lose. But the fact that they beat Notre Dame, I was able to run my mouth to some Notre Dame fans that I know and talk to on a daily basis. And it's pretty fun. It's like, man, we're going to beat this team at the end of the year, but they just smacked y'all.
I'm beginning to get with you on that, PJ, about the hatred for Notre Dame. I used to love them. I used to be here, cheer for old Notre Dame every time. But once they did my boy Willingham wrong, I began to change my colors and begin to have a little hatred for them. And then as we play Notre Dame and watching how their fans talk about how they are God's gift to college football and how the fact that they are the only team with a individual TV contract with NBC and all. Every time I want to see them lose, I want to see them be removed from the championship. I don't want them to be in the discussion for championship because every time that happens, it makes NBC question whether or not they should be putting that money down on them. making them realize y'all need to be in the conference. Who the devil do you think you are? Where y'all can have the rest of our athletics, but the football, no. We're too good for everybody. So no, I'm just like you, PJ.
Notre Dame and IU basketball are very similar.
IU, I don't even give IU. I don't even give them conversation. That's how.
I'm they're very similar because they're fans. Like you would think that Notre Dame is like the premier school of all schools, like that they're been Bama and Clemson and Georgia and Ohio State. You would think that by the way that they talk, but they're not.
Hey,
Alabama, Indiana, Hoosiers, the movie Hoosiers, they all think they God's gift of basketball. Bump all that. I don't even get please. No. Indiana, you're right. Indiana and Notre Dame probably up there for Kentucky fans the most hated.
Go ahead. Only thing I'm gonna say about Indiana is I'm glad they're back on our schedule for basketball. Kentucky Indiana series is revived. Yep, that's the only thing I'm gonna say about it.
Hopefully, y'all won't lose to them like y'all did last time when y'all got scared and had to take them off the schedule in the first place. So.
Well, we played them
from Indiana and North Carolina.
Do we not remember this? We played them in the NCAA tournament later on that year and won the championship.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
60%, and we beat them by 15.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, they broke your win streak, though, man. They broke your win streak.
All right.
After that, Kyle said, "No more."
So
no more.
I'm looking at your schedule. I see Pitt coming up at Pitt, and then Notre Dame. That's going to be a good matchup. Notre Dame is number 17. I mean, not Notre Dame.
No.
I'm talking about Duke. I meant Duke. Duke, they're number 17. You guys are number 14 in the nation. I want to see that. But Pitt is like a trap game for you guys, so watch out for that.
Yeah.
Their defense is traditionally giving us problems. They're very good defense. Even now, they're offensively horrible. Mm-hmm. It's another 6-year quarterback, Phil Jerkovich, played at Notre Dame, then played for DC, played for Boston College. He's the guy that really made us upset like last year because he was dropping bombs on us with their wide receiver who's now with the Ravens. He was dropping bombs on us last year, and then he transferred to Pittsburgh, and he's been converted to a tight end. He was the starter for the first 5 games. All of a sudden, he got converted to a tight end. So, it's interesting with all these 6-year quarterbacks. It's apparent to me that Plummer and Leary are 2 of the better ones because the one at North Carolina State got benched and somebody else got benched as well. So it's interesting.
I'm thinking that Leary. I'm thinking the problem with Leary. Huh?
No, I'm thinking somebody else. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking that the problem with Leary has to do with, number one, the offense, not being totally comfortable with the offense. Number 2, it's the receivers, but and trying to get on the same page with them. But also, I'm wondering that pec injury that he had to come back from. And the reason why I say this is because Dr. Andrews is the one that did his surgery. Dr. Andrews said they've never done it on a quarterback. They don't know if it's going to affect him or not. They don't know. And Larry said it himself that in the offseason, he kind of had to relearn to throw and things. So I wonder, does that muscle memory, that's not there anymore. You're almost starting from scratch and rebuilding that because he wasn't this inconsistent at NC State. Like, he didn't miss blatant wide open throws like he did against Georgia.
You're like 10-foot tall receivers.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm thinking that something with that injury, and I'm wondering that if when they do their assessment, their evaluation for the next quarterback, because they're probably going to go to the portal again, do they say, no, this one's damaged goods, let's look at the other one? Because we almost signed Mertz. Mertz, he's performed better. Is he better? No. He's performed better in the offense that he's in, though. So.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and this is just me. I've been like this since I was a kid, and I don't know if this makes me smarter than college coaches or not.
Go ahead. Smarter than the college coach.
Bro, this is me personally. When I watch football, I love football, man. First love. When you watch college football, if you do not have a premier passer, the best thing you could do for your offense is get a dual threat quarterback. Because to me personally, and this is me personally, like what I feel like is even before people remember Terry Wilson after he was injured. But people forget that before his injury, when they pulled him down from the back, we was at the game when it happened, it changed the way how he could move a little bit, just a step slower.
Mm-hmm.
Him being able to run completely changed the offense. Now, mind you, nobody's Lamar Jackson in the last 50 years, right? Even Lamar, and Lamar's a passer. Lamar's a quarterback. He's not a running back. He's not a receiver. He's a quarterback. But even Lamar, what makes him so dangerous, and again, it's an anomaly because he's 1 in a million. His ability to run the ball changes how you have to play defense against. That's why Alabama, as great as they always have top 3 recruiting class. But you know who they struggle with always, bro? It's always been teams who, even like Baker Mayfield, who like, I can move good enough. Like when you get me moving out of the pocket, I can move good enough. And to me, if you have guys, if you're going to go in college, if you're going to try to compete, if you're not going to have, one of those guys who's clearly going to be like a CJ Stroud, who's going to be like a top 3 pick in the draft, you know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. Your best chance to me, and I've always questioned, I don't understand why for UK, like why we don't go out for dual threat quarterbacks. I understand we have, Liam Cohen now, the system, what he prefers, and all is nice. But to me, I would at least like the safety blanket where like, okay, this guy's not comfortable right now. It's not working out. Let me get in there a guy who can I don't need him to throw 70 yards downfield. I just need you to make basic throws to the tight ends, the curl routes, out routes, and run. And to me, I feel like it gives the defense, it makes them second guess. It gives them another thing to look at. It makes another runner on the field, right? And to me, I feel like I've never understood why we don't necessarily go that route more.
I think Liam Cohen kind of looked at not Devin Leary, Will Levis, sort of like that. Because, I mean, in that offense, he had designed – it wasn't the traditional – no, he didn't look like Malik Cunningham back there. No, he didn't look like Lamar Jackson back there, some of these others. But he had some design runs for him, There was one, and I had to point this out to Perry, and I didn't even realize it myself until the Bengals did it. They would spread out the defense, forcing the middle to be wide open. And once that happened, what did they do? It was a draw. I mean, not a draw, but it was a quarterback keeper right up the middle. And it forces the defense to adjust. And then after you adjust, something else comes wide open. And that was the first year. I believe it was the first year under Cohen when we had Will Levis. That's what they did. That was the core of their scheme. Force them out wide. We're going to run the quarterback up the middle. And then what Louisville fans say, we would have beat y'all if we could have stopped the quarterback run. Well, that was the whole key. That was what we were keying on the whole time. We could have changed it to do something else, but we're looking for mismatch. This is the mismatch because this is what you guys did to your defense all the time. Your nose would always vacate the middle. Once he vacates the middle, you got a wide open gap, and who else is going to get him? The safeties. So that was the game plan. So I think that he looked at Will Levis sort of like that. He just didn't look like that traditional dual threat quarterback. He looks at certain aspects. I just think that this year he thought that he had the cream of the crop with Devin Leary, but he was kind of damaged goods. So it's not panning out to be the way we thought, but he can still recover, and I think he will. I think he will recover because,
Stoops' comments were horrible.
Well, that was what I was getting ready to say. Stoops actually came at him pretty hard.
What did Stoops say?
There's no excuse for missing wide open throws.
Him and Georgia. He said to the fans, he said, I understand complaints. He said, what I would encourage you to is to donate. He said, because they are. He said they bought half them dudes. He says the name of the game. They bought half them dudes.
Stoops said that?
He said.
But you know what? But you know what? But you know what? Your boy in Ohio State, he said something of that effect, like, hey, we need you guys to give some more
Yeah.
so we can keep these guys on our roster. Your boy down there, Nick Saban, he's just said something similar to that 2 Saturdays ago. So I mean, they're saying it.
Yeah,
But you can because it's the NIL year. I mean,
scandal with him and Jimbo Fisher over that mess over the offseason or last year or something like that.
Yeah, we take
players. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They been
But
going at it.
But I want to say,
going at it.
Yeah.
So
hey,
go ahead, say what you got to say, Rich.
I was going to say I was agreeing with Perry about Pittsburgh is going to be a trap game for Louisville. It's one of those things. Jeff Brom even mentioned it in his presser after the game or his presser this morning. He was talking about how when he was at Purdue, they'd have a big win and then turn right around and lose, because they, getting the team emotionally up and ready for every game, especially if you're coming off a big win like that. He said every year he was at Purdue, they'd win big or win against a big opponent and then turn around next game and lose. So I hope we don't do that when we go up to Pitt. I mean, if we can beat Pitt in the next 3 games plus the bye week are at home, and then our last away game is Miami. So and that'll be our Super Bowl too, because I think Miami is going to be furious and hot as a hornet's nest after that loss they took in the stupidest way down there. But it'll be
playing North Carolina this week.
Let's see this. Let's say
yeah.
this. Let's say this while we're talking about schedules. Louisville. All right, what do you got? 6-0 now, and
We're 6-0.
You guys have.
I'm sorry, we're bowl eligible.
Teams.
We're bowl eligible. Get that right.
Yes, we understand that.
Eligible.
But you guys got 3 ranked teams left on your schedule. You got Duke, Miami, and Kentucky. So you guys should finish no less than 3 losses. No more than 3 losses, I mean. No more than 3 losses. Now, when we say that, in contrast, Kentucky also comes with 3 more ranked teams. I thought we came with 4 ranked teams.
They took Mizzou out because they lost to LSU, but Mizzou's a good team.
Wait a minute. It depends on the poll. Missouri is ranked in one poll and unranked in the other. So it depends.
Yeah, they lost because they tricked the game against LSU. They should have won that game. But I love that they're coming here on a night game at 7:30. I love that for us. I'm hoping again. To me, like I said before we started here, I said to me, yeah, I didn't expect us beating Georgia. I have us beating Georgia this year. I didn't want to lose the way we did, but it was what it was. To me, that's not the person of like, oh, this is what the season is. To me, it's these slate of games now. Because, okay, this happened. You got embarrassed on national TV. How do you respond? And you got a good team. Missouri's a good team coming in. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's me over here. No, PJ, I think you hit the nail on the head because nobody had Kentucky winning that game. So it was an embarrassing loss. It was embarrassing the way it happened. But if we put it in perspective, Kentucky is 5-1. We are exactly where we thought we would be. 5-1 right now. All right. So we had some fans talking about, hey, we could win 10 games. That's still there for the taking. We just gotta play our part. It's still there for the taking. But yeah, like you said, this is defining right here against Missouri. Missouri is a big game. And I think that we'll be up for it because I think our players, if we have any pride, we're gonna look at that Georgia game and say, no, I didn't show up. No, I didn't give it my all after we were down 21-0. I can play better than this. Let's go. And lock in. If we have another report from Stoops talking about the intensity wasn't there on Tuesday and Wednesday and such, what's going on? What are we doing? We're really getting ready to have a disappointing season at that point. But I think that they're going to be locked in this week. I really do, and I think that will show on Saturday when we play Missouri. I can't wait for that game. It is at, like you said, 7:30 on SEC Network. Is Louisville game? Do y'all play on TV this week?
6 AC, probably ACC Network. It's at 6:30.
Got you. All right.
Starts an hour before
was that trying to be a slight against?
No, because y'all stuff.
We always on TV. Why you gotta ask?
Yeah, I ain't always on TV. Yeah,
guys, we always being broadcast somewhere. We always got to be broadcast somewhere. So why you got to ask that question? Whether or not we on ABC?
Yeah,
NBC,
not always on TV.
So it's
Yeah.
always got to be a slight.
Can I
When you
ask
ask
you
that
UK
question,
fans
you acting
opinion
like
on
these
the
are the
question?
old 70s where we had to only listen to it by radio. That's what you're talking about. So please, come on now. Come on.
My question to the
Are y'all
UK
Man.
on
fans
TV?
is,
Are y'all on
when
TV?
Hey, you know
when
what?
y'all was
Sean
up,
Gurton.
when
Sean
y'all
Gurton, you said something right here. I actually think that you might be on to something, even though I hate this. The Duke game with Louisville, that might be a spot for the
Well,
ACC championship game.
Let me say something on that.
Go ahead.
That's a good point.
Sean said y'all on
unfortunately-
CW. Sean said y'all on CW. CW is not a sports channel.
Wait a
You
minute.
forgiven for ABC,
you-
CBS, NBC,
It's still
CW. Come on,
broadcast
man.
someplace. It's still being broadcast.
But y'all
Okay?
act like that.
So
I'm saying
getting
that
back
as
to
a
my
joke.
point,
Y'all act like I'm
you
asking
did.
that as a joke.
You said,
No.
"Are y'all on TV?" That's
Who
what
play?
you said.
Who plays on CW?
We do, and we're not the only team
All
that
right.
plays on CW.
That what? That hey,
we not the
HBCUs,
we not the
HBCUs. What mid majors? I mean, come on now.
But
HBCUs playing on NBC.
okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point. All it matters is whether we get the win or not. But I wanted to address that question, that comment that
I agree, Tim. I agree, Tim. Don't beat
Praise
you
the Lord,
twice.
Chandler.
And you know what, Tim? That's what happened in the past. It can't happen this year. But go ahead, Rich. I'm sorry.
One thing we noticed that if Louisville wins out undefeated in conference play, and Florida State wins undefeated in conference play, and North Carolina goes undefeated in conference play, there's going to be a real kerfuffle as who's going to be representative in the ACC championship, because none of those teams play each other, and it's a good opportunity. It's a good chance that all three of them can go undefeated in conference play between here and the end of the season. So. Yeah. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. Maybe we can look it up and have it ready for the next podcast just in case. But the Duke game will be a Super Bowl game for somebody, whether it's us or for them. Thank goodness we got them here at Papa John. So I mean,
it should be because you're going to have a lot at stake. You're going to have a lot at stake, so it should be. If it's not, I question the team. I question the team.
Both teams right now are still undefeated in conference play. Duke did have that one loss to Notre Dame, and transitive property says that if we beat Notre Dame and Notre Dame beat Duke, transitive property A equals B and B equals C, then A must equal C. So if Louisville beat Duke and Duke beat if Louisville beat Notre Dame and Notre Dame beat Duke, then Louisville should beat Duke by transitive property. But like I said, we'll see when we play the game, but that's a good question. But thank goodness it's at home. All of our games from here are at home except for Miami. And that will be another big test because, like I said, that'll be if they go undefeated. Hopefully they can beat North Carolina and knock them out of the unbeatens in the ACC play. If they can do that, then it's going to be looked down. We control our destiny. Louisville and Florida State control the destiny. Will be in the ACC championship.
Well, we're an hour and 12 minutes in. We got to wrap this up, but we were just talking about conferences, so I want to put this out here. Let me quiz you guys for a second.
I have a question.
What is your question? What is your question? While we try to close out this, what is your question?
Well, I got a fact first. Facts. Stoops has only beaten 2 SEC teams that had a winning SEC conference record in his 10+ years at the University of Kentucky.
Okay, and what's your question?
And the question I have is, our game started after UK's game. When y'all were down big, how many UK fans changed the station to the Louisville game? I'm just wondering how many.
I can answer that because where I was watching it, all of them changed over and told us, hey, they started watching the Louisville game. After the first half, they was checked out.
I did because, like I said, once we went down 21-0 and I seen our body language, I was like, why am I watching this? Then I felt like out of obligation, I had to turn back and watch it.
Yeah, I was watching and streaming Madden at the same time. So.
Yeah, so I'll say that. All right, but we got to close out, and I just got one thing to bring up. I want to quiz you guys for a second. Who do you guys think is, by the polls, who do you guys think is the best conference this year so far?
So far this year?
Yep.
Pac-10,
Who's the best
they got
conference?
them
By the
on-
polls.
Would
5,
it be the
4,
Big
3,
Ten?
2.
Pac-10.
Last time I
Pac-10.
checked by
The-
the computers, it was Pac-10.
Yep,
By the
it's the
computers.
Pac-12. It's the Pac-12.
Pac-12, yeah.
They're
Why
the
we say
number one.
Pac-10? Pac-12. Yeah.
That's what
It
they
used to be the
Who's-
Pac-10. Yeah,
Who's
Pac-12.
the number 2? Who's the number 2?
It was the SEC and the ACC was number 3.
There you go. So Perry's probably looking at an ESPN right now. SEC is the second best football conference right now. ACC is the third best right now. Big Ten comes in at the fourth best.
I will say though, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State. I mean, not Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. I think they all like in the top 5, ain't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
Penn State,
one
I
that's
think
number
it's
5.
6, isn't it?
You got one that's number 5, one is number 9, and the other one is number 23.
Really?
I'm sorry,
hold on.
number 6.
no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. You got one is number 2, one is number 3, and one is number 6. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Penn State is number 6. I was gonna say, yeah.
Yep.
They-
Yep. And sadly, Big 12 comes in last. It's kind of it's weird because this is the last year of the Pac-12, and they're having
I'm
like a
just
better year. That's crazy.
So glad we got rid of Satterfield. Thank you, Cincinnati. If there's this other school I hate Cincinnati and Memphis. Oh my God, I'm sorry, PJ. I'm taking this topic.
No, you're
You
fine.
mustn't forget Memphis and Cincinnati are up there on the hatred list. But thank you, Cincinnati. I will send you a card. Thank you, Cincinnati, for taking Satterfield off.
Hey, you know what? But you know what? Okay, so I work with a lot of people from Cincinnati. I work with a lot of people from Cincinnati. I have not heard one good thing about Satterfield yet, and this is before the season. This is before the season started. Everybody is just like, how did we settle for him? Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the Cincinnati fans. I'm like, man, y'all see what we went through starting the season 2 and 3 when you expected so much more, and you looking at 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Bro,
I mean,
we taking them, man. We like, look, man. Glad, man. We glad. It's like I told somebody, I was typing it on the boards. I said, man, some of our fans on the boards, they were so down on Cincinnati. I was like, man, y'all insulting Cincinnati. That's like going into a police station, filing a police report, and making fun as you walking out of somebody else coming in filing a police report. Y'all don't victim of the crime. Y'all need to be feeling sorry for each other. Don't be down on Cincinnati like that.
They paid Louisville? Wait a minute. They paid Louisville to take?
Yes.
yeah, because he was still in the middle of the contract. So it's like mugging somebody and then turning around and shooting them because they didn't have enough money in the wallet.
Top 2
That's
coach.
That's
all time.
funny.
Top 2
That's funny.
coach of all time.
That's funny. All right, guys. We got to wrap this up. We're an hour and 17 minutes in. I just want to appreciate everybody that came on the show today. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, PJ. Thank you, Perry. I want to thank you guys for being a part of the conversation. You guys have been commenting down below. It's been great. We love this part of the live show. And like I said, if you guys want to be on the show, go ahead and hit me up. All right? Hit me up. Right here, Will E. Dubs on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, you watching this, you can know how to get in contact with me. Get in contact with me. You guys can be on the show. Battle somebody. Tell me, hey, I want to be on the show. I want to go after this person and the other fan base. All right, makes it all fun. All right, I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great week. Go Cats. I guess go Cards. I don't want to say that, but you guys won, so I give